Hello everybody, once again Bismarck here with a little bit of IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad. Now it's been some time since I uploaded a video, in fact it's been more than 2 weeks. I do apologize for that. I'm sure all of you will understand, real life is simply the priority here. Sometimes I simply don't have the time to play or to make videos, but here we are again, and we are in the BF-109 F4. Now this is in fact my favorite plane from the non-Focke-Wulf 190 LA5 lineup that we have in the game. The LA5 and the Focke-Wulf, well, I do love them to bits, but the F4, it's really growing on me. I didn't think that I would say this, but the 109s, they are growing me a lot, and when I say the 109s, I really mean the F4. It's here in my favorite configuration. The top part of the headrest was removed. That will of course not protect my pilot as much, but I think it's a good trade-off. It just gives me way more rearward visibility, and I really like it. And I also have opted to remove, or in fact simply not install the front plate, extra armor glass plate that I can fit, simply because again it obstructs a little bit of the view, and I want to see all around. I would want to have the best possible all around vision in this plane, and so I've opted to simply make these basic design choices so when I go out and fight. Now I am currently in a fighter bomber configuration. I was planning to do a little bit of fighter bombing and show you guys what you can do as a fighter bomber in this game. However, the call of the hunt, so to say, well, it was there, and as soon as I recognized an enemy plane, you will see it, I just drop my bomb and I just go for him. Now over there we have a very severely contested airfield. We just had a friendly who was smoking who landed there, and we are nearing the front lines. Just in front of us, that is Stalingrad right there, the big massive city on the Volga. And yeah, I'm nearing there, and I'm thinking, you know, where should I go to drop my ordnance here? I have a 250 kilogram bombs just waiting to say hello to Ivan. But I'm a fighter pilot at heart, and then this is when I spotted an enemy plane. Now I look at the enemy plane and I recognize it's an LA5, and just briefly I think, should I go for him? Should I go for him? And yeah, just drop that bomb, and I'm slowly turning in, taking up pursuit. Now I'm not quite sure what his plan was there. Now my suspicions are my previous identification that this was a Russian fighter and an LA5 is confirmed by AA opening up on him. Not quite sure what this guy is doing, but I want to protect my airfield, and I want to protect the guys that maybe take off at this airfield. If you are new to this game, if you've just bought the standard pack or the collector's edition, whatever it's called, don't take off at the airfields that are next to the front lines. Always try to take off an airfield further down the back, otherwise you will be vultured, and it's simply not a nice experience for anybody, really. Now I'm starting to go mighty fast here, so I have to trim out my plane a little bit so it doesn't pull up automatically. I'm a little bit afraid here that my own flak will shoot me down as they fire on that LA5. I'm sure they're scared as hell as well, otherwise they wouldn't fire like this crazily. But the enemy plane starts to pull up here. I'm slowly adjusting my aim, and then we move ourselves into a firing solution. The first couple of bursts miss. The second one hits him, his right aileron goes flying away. Once again get a hit there as he spins. He's starting to smoke, and we make another little hit here, and that is us gone. I think the enemy plane pretty much had his due. Just quickly check the airfield there. Nobody seems to be taking off. I have a plane behind me. The engine and simply the look of it makes me think that this is a 190. So I quickly show my whole plane to him. I curved in there to show him the outline of my plane, to help him identify myself as an ally. And as I move in to just check if this LA5 really needs to be finished off completely, I noticed that he has crashed. Now this is the first victory, and one of the aims of this video is really to show you guys that sometimes you don't get the fight where you think you get a fight. You know, this was fighter on fighter, and yes, I got that guy by surprise, I guess. Maybe he saw me just at the end when he started to pull up, but that was his last-ditch effort to leave. But you'd think that fighter against fighters, that's where the real fight develops, that's where the danger develops. But actually, dangers might sometimes come from very unexpected cases, and that is the second part of this video. That's basically what it's all about. So we're just going to cut it off right here. There's not going to be a lot of events happening for another half an hour, I think, of this Beaver 109 F4 gameplay. So let's just cut it right here and move on. Alright, so let's have a look at the second engagement that I had in my Beaver 109 F4. This one is against an IL-2, and the enemy pilot has also chosen the option to have a rear gunner, so that is of course something we have to keep in mind. Now, it's surprising how many people don't use that option. I've seen quite a few IL-2s flying around with no rear gunner, and I don't really see the reasoning behind that to be all that logical. The gunner, of course, it is a retrofit. It's something that has been added to the front lines. You can see it very well when you actually look at the model, how very simple this gunner position is. However, he does add something to you, and he in fact adds a lot to the defensive capabilities of your IL-2 if the enemy pilots give the gunner a good solution. Now, you have to keep in mind that if you attack any kind of aircraft that has defensive gunners, that you have to keep yourself fast, and you have to give the enemy gunner the worst possible angles. And if possible, really in best case scenario, you shouldn't even attack from the angles where he can fire at you. So for example, an IL-2, if I would attack him from, let's say, his 1 o'clock up high, coming in with speed, diving right into his movement, I can bypass his gunner's firing arc completely. However, that is not too simple to do. The closure speed, of course, is going to radically decrease the time that you have to fire, and as well as that, two objects moving towards each other, which once again makes it so much harder to really get that shot off that you require to take these IL-2s down. And as we can see, or as we will see in this footage, IL-2s, you know, they can be taken down. It is not as if they shrug off all kinds of damage that you throw onto them. Yeah, they take some 20 mils, but if you get enough into them and into the points where it really hurts them, the IL-2s will go down. Now, I've seen a lot of good success against IL-2s if I fire at their midsection. That really seems to be the best place to hit them. Let's just have a look here before I go on. Let's have a look at my first approach. Compared to the first footage that I had with you guys, my shooting is not going to be all too good here. You can see that I mess up my first approach, and this really could have been the killing blow. As I said, if I engage an IL-2, I will always aim for that midsection, just above the wing, aiming for that bulb in the aircraft, and getting a couple of 20 mils in there usually secures a victory quite fast. Now, I've had some nasty experiences with these gunners, so I'm going to try to keep my approaches as safe as possible. But I want to use this footage that I've recorded here to once again emphasize that you can't get sloppy if you want to attack and succeed in aerial combat. Now, what you saw there is me. I don't know really why. I thought that I was slightly off with my initial aim there, but as you can see, I overcompensated with the rudder kite severely, and basically that caused me to miss the whole thing. So I just reset my attack once again, going from a very low angle, hoping that the enemy gunner will not see me coming. This is of course something of a tactic you can use as well. Try to keep the enemy gunner guessing. By this point he knows he's being attacked. He will scan all around him, but he can't look below the plane. Use the enemy plane against the enemy player, so to say. getting a little bit of a hit there on his tail section. That is of course not going to be enough to defeat an IL-2. However, he starts to lose coolant, I guess. There, I am not quite sure what he's losing. But now I am starting to do these slashing maneuvers where I just try to get a couple of hit-ins into them, but I don't want the gunner to have an easy shot. Once again, diving down here, just below him, and this time I don't try to overcompensate with my rudder as in my first approach, and once again I get a nice little hit into the IL-2 there. But yeah, something I want to emphasize with this footage is that, you know, getting this kill is of course something I want. I want to shoot this enemy down. I want to prevent him from attacking my airfields or strafing my ground targets. That is all part of the mission of this server. But I can't get sloppy, because when you get sloppy, that's when you start to make your mistakes. Now, as we saw until now, the enemy gunner had nearly no opportunity to fire at me, and things are looking up at this point. The problem is just that in every of those attacks that I just had, as you can see, I always got these little hits into him. Just, you know, a 20 mil here, a 20 mil there, a couple of 7.92s. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to take him down. He's smoking, I feel confident, and this is when I make my mistake. You can see how easy of an approach I have here. The closure speed isn't that fast. The gunner has an easy opportunity to fire in me. I miss my complete barrage of shots there. I don't think anything hit. And you can see all these holes in my plane. I take my last ditch effort here, once again overcompensating with rudder. Something that I do quite often. I still don't have that twist control fully as I wanted. But that is all part of the learning curve, and of course I recognize that this plane is gone for I jump out, and the victory goes to the gunner and the IL-2. So I hope this little clip here emphasized that even though you are basically in an engagement that is very much in your favor, you can't afford to just tell yourself that you're on a better plane and you can take the enemy easily. Always be concerned about your own plane, always be concerned about your own life, play it safe, shoot the enemy down, and just take the victory back home. And don't do what I did there and simply believe that now is the time to just go all in, because there are moments in aerial combat where you have to go all in. That was not a moment where this was required. But that brings me to closure of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys had a good time watching a little bit of footage from IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad. As always, if you have any questions or feedback, leave them down below. And have a great day, good hunting, and see you in the sky.